Yeah.
Oh, really?
I ordered 45 books for the Wine Loft event, and they came in, and the text was too dark.
Are we highlighting the same color?
I used
or did you
highlighter.
just oh, okay. I was like, oh my god, how cool is that?
Because I didn't bring I was bad and didn't bring my marked up copy.
So she's taking pictures of her covers, and I'm like, wow, that looks great. And then my books came late that night. I didn't see them until morning. I opened the box, and I was like, oh no.
So this is different?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just a little bit.
It's supposed to be this now.
It's like
Okay.
It's supposed to be matte, but it's more like kind of smooth.
Yeah, it looks matte, but it doesn't feel like it.
Yeah.
So welcome. I know we're kind of having like a private conversation. So I know this is on my personal page, and whoever's been reporting me, please don't report me for this being on the personal page. For some reason, the Bella's Uncensored page is like missing. We don't know. So if anyone has any ideas why, because I know I have a lot of tech-savvy friends that whenever I post I'm having a crisis, like last week, the website, someone's like, I went on a Parties by Bella's website and it directed me to porn, and now my phone's acting weird. And I was like, what? But then, like, people taught me how to fix it. So we're still in the process of that. Thank you. So if anyone knows why I was disabled, please let me know. So we are here with our co-host, Rebecca. You guys should know her from a few shows. And then the authors of this awesome book, His Words, Her Desires, Bedtime Stories. And we were kind of just talking about, I guess you guys just redid it, so it looks all fancier now. Mine just looks a mess because I've been reading the heck out of it and highlighting it. But, so yeah, I guess, like, how did this, get started? What made you, I know you were telling me before, but, like, what made you decide to write a book?
Well, I had written some stuff in the past, short stories, little things here and there, and when we actually started discussing stuff, we met through a mutual friend, and I guess I had another page. It was called IMO. It was bounces from one thing to the other. Nothing was ever the same from one day to the other, but it was a lot of writing. She really liked it. She thought it was really good, and we started discussing other writing things. She told me she was a writer, and
oh, you wrote other stuff before this?
Yeah, not in this genre.
Yeah, not that. So she had coerced me twisted my arm into sending her a sample of what I had written.
Okay. And I'm assuming you liked it.
Yeah. Actually,
here we are.
I kind of read it and I was like, and I kind of have a little bit of OCD, so like formatting and changing things around. I was like, do you mind if I add some things or make some changes to it? And he was like, sure. Meanwhile, he's sitting on the edge of his seat because he doesn't know what I'm thinking on the other end.
I'm thinking she's probably going, he's such a pervert.
Yeah.
I was like, you said you were. I was preparing a speech.
Let me see a sample.
So, like, it was funny because I was reading, I highlighted 3 sections or 3 paragraphs that I thought were, like, super sexy. So I was reading them to my fiance earlier, asking him which ones he liked better. And he's like, what is that, 50 Shades of Grey? And I'm like, no, what have I been telling you? I was like, I've been reading this book. He's like, oh, yeah, the authors or whatever. But, it's, this is, like, the perfect time to do this because, everyone, loves that, movie and that kind of got really popular. And now it's becoming big again because, February is being released again, the final chapter. But, yeah, so it's really, I've read, I think, the first 7 I said. But, yeah, they're really interesting. I like the fact that they're short stories because, like, I'll start a novel and, like, a year later I'm still trying to, like, read it. So this, it's, like, 10 to 20 minutes. You can read a story and you feel like, you accomplished something and then put it down. Yeah. It's kind of cool.
And you don't have to remember anything or any characters.
Yeah, exactly. No. By the time
you have to reread.
Realize who the characters were. Hey, resigning. By the time you realize who the characters were, like, you're like, okay, next one. But let's see. Yeah, I was kind of interested. Like, were any of these? Let's see which one I want to ask first. I got a bunch of questions. Were any of these stories or part of them from like real life experiences, or were they all made up? How did you? Do you want to talk about it?
I would say yes. You'll have to guess which one.
Really?
Actually, every single one of the stories is based off of real fantasies, that real, normal, everyday.
Yeah, none of them are too crazy.
Wives. And what we did was we took their like little fantasy and built a story all the way around it. And like you were saying, they're short. The reason why they're short is I love to read, but you know I get stuck on a Stephen King book, and I'll be like you know all the way through a chapter, and you know what, I'm gonna read one more chapter, and then I'm like, and then the next day I'll go to pick it up, and I'm like, I didn't put a bookmark in.
Yeah.
Now I have to read all the way back here. Being it's a short story, it's like you can get through the whole thing and be like, I just finished the whole chapter, and that was
exactly. Because
good.
like I love Nicholas Sparks, but I've been trying to read this one book for I swear over a year. So like I'll read it, and like months later I'm like, oh, I have some time, let me read it, and I don't remember what the hell has happened. Like it's like I'm starting the book over, and I'm like confused.
I get like that, or I'll read like a chapter, and then I'm like, I have no idea what I just read. So like I'll go back and I'll like reread it, and then it's like sometimes hard to get through things like that. I love short stories for that reason.
And like authors like Stephen King, like they spend a lot of time describing their character. Like he spends a lot of time describing his characters, and he goes off on 2 or 3 chapters describing one character. So it's like, and then you have to get back to
something like something for that. Yeah.
I think he does. He really tries to give you no chance to not see exactly what he sees as the character.
Yeah.
So when he's describing a character, you're looking at it going, he's describing Will freaking Smith.
Yeah.
You know, to the T from Legend, or I Am Legend. But in our case, what we did was we really left a little bit of space so that you could really kind of develop your own vision of what the characters could look like.
And like how you said before that like, you know, none of them are too crazy fantasies. It could be like, you know, like something that a regular housewife would think of. Like I don't want to give too much away, but like chapter 2, that one, like I liked that one because at the end I was like, oh, shit, sweet. Like, I was like, yes, I like that.
We have a fantastic story about that ending.
Oh, really?
So we were writing, and we got almost to the end. And she says, well, how are we going to end this one? I was like, I have no idea. So we agreed, we'll put it down for a little while. I'll let you finish the story, because I told it last time. So.
I don't even remember. We just kind of like...
I was driving home. I was in traffic, actually. And I'm sitting there driving home, and I'm like, not even thinking about that story per se. And I was like, oh, the light bulbs, not even a light bulb. I had like the entire lighting section
like
of
that
those.
sentence, you know, like there it is, and you're like, what? Like that's like perfect. Like, oh, sweet.
So it dawned on me.
I'm excited to read this now.
Yeah,
like,
It was really good. So I pulled over and I started typing it on my phone.
It just like came out of nowhere.
Right in, and I sent her a message, and she was at her other job, and I didn't get anything back. I'm like, oh, for crying out loud.
She hates it.
So I sent her another message, nothing. And then I was like, you know what? I got on the couch, I'm watching TV, and I was like, next day I wake up and there was a message back from her, and she said, oh, I'll read it later. And I was like, oh, come on! So it was not until like midday, the next day, she finally reads it and gets back to me, and she's like, it's awesome. And we just, you know, touched it up, and she reformatted it.
Yeah, I was like, that's perfect, that's awesome. No, it's funny, before you were saying you love the one question, I don't even know how the heck you read that, because I'm having trouble reading my own handwriting right now.
I had to blow it up.
I was like, so like, my one thing was, which actually we didn't even like really talk about, you didn't answer it, so I'm excited to know, like, and I wrote examples, thank God. Like, did you use like a thesaurus, like when you were like writing some of these stories? Because like, for example, like certain words like swollen or like engulfed, you know, like when like those like sexual words, because obviously you can't use the same one.
Right.
How many stories are there?
12.
12. So you have to think of like, you know, words
different,
like different like words. You can't be like every time she's engulfed, you know. So like I was reading it, I'm like
throbbing. You're like,
yeah,
God,
like, and every time I read it, I'm like, there's
throbbing?
another one. Like, what? I didn't even think of that word. Like, so like, how did you come up with all those different words?
I'm gonna give that credit to you.
Well, as you know, we know, we kind of read through these stories over and over and over again. I'm like, oh, we're kind of saying the same things. Like,
so you swapped them out after.
Yeah, so it's like, well, yes and no. I mean, we went back and it was like, all right, well, we need to enhance this a little bit more because they're essentially saying the same thing using a different word. So
different
then I'm
characters.
like, yeah, different characters. Like, oh, let's reword it just a little bit differently, just to kind of, to make it different from story to story.
Yeah, because I don't think I've heard the same, like, story, like, at all, like, when it comes down to that type of stuff. Like, some of the words I was like, I'm going to Google that and make sure that it's like, what? Like, what
Well,
is
I had
happening?
one friend who actually messaged me and was like, can you just a little less throbbing cock? I'm like, how many times
No,
did you use that?
I think that's the one that I picked.
But apparently that phrase, throbbing cock, is in like a
She could feel the hardness of his cock through his shorts. Alright, it wasn't throbbing, but that was one of the...
Hardness, throbbing, swollen. No, we did edit
Throbbing
this
was in here.
thing. I think we read through these stories probably a good 10, 15 times, re-editing and changing, and then she would message me and go, I made changes on, and I would go, oh, God, again. And then I would read it and go, all right, and then I would have to give her credit because I would be really upset about changes, more changes. I did. I got so mad. And then I would read it, and then I would have to.
Well,
okay,
You're
you're
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but overall, it ends up being amazing.
Do you guys have a favorite story in? Like, do you have one favorite that you...
We actually have.
couple,
Yeah, there's. I think we each have two.
What chapters are... Yeah, what
we
chapters are your
definitely
favorite?
share chapter 2 as a favorite.
I feel like that's a lot of people's favorites.
It's a lot of people love that one.
Because that one's so real.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I want that. Like,
exactly, and I think that is kind of the essence of the reason why we wrote the book, was because, you're married 20, 30 years, even 10 years. It's like monotony, and then couples become very complacent, and then one person or
again,
even
kind of
both.
an idea what it's
I
about.
know, I'm like,
but still, you're still
like inching in my way,
Yeah,
like,
so
what?
you start to become so complacent, and then, next thing you know, it's like Thursday night, we have date night, so that means I have to run to the pharmacy and get some condoms, or...
We've talked about this, like, I think it was one of the shows you were on, like, having a plan, like, date night, do it, don't, but, like, with, like, different schedules, it's like, all right, Sunday, 5 o'clock, sex, like, planning, like, sex, and, like, it was, like, pencil it in, and, like, we were saying that, like, okay, maybe pick the day if, that's the day that you're, not busy, but, like, obviously you can't be, like, 5 o'clock, we meet in the bedroom, let's do this, 5:30, we have to cook dinner, like, so, like, we talked about stuff like that, because then it becomes, like, a routine, or, like, almost, like, a duty, like, a thing, like,
How fun is that? There's no...
No, it's not, and we had so many people saying, well, you have to, like, my husband works 3 jobs, and I work 2, and, like, da-da-da-da, and we kind of were like, yeah, but, there has to be some, like, it's got to be somewhat spontaneous. Like, if you know it's going to be Sunday, like, you don't have to know when. Maybe, like, you sneak in, or when you wake your partner up to something Sunday, so it can still be, like, it can still be
Grandma's got to take the kids for the weekend,
Right.
We also talked about that, like, a
Nobody's working on
staycation, like, give grandma the kids for a couple hours, or just a night, and just get it in. But, yeah, I like chapter 2. That's my favorite. What was another one?
We have a split decision on this one, because you like something different than I do for...
I kind of like Walk on the Wild Side.
What number was that?
Was that 3?
Oh, let's see. If that's the case, I did read that one. I got up to 7.
Yeah. I kind of do like that one, because it's like meeting, it's like kind of, a little, meeting somebody for the first time, sex on the first date, sort of,
Okay, I vaguely remember this one. Yeah. That was a good one.
Yeah,
That was a good one.
I think...
This is the type of book you want to read when the kids are asleep if you have kids, with a glass of wine, no one around.
Vibrator handy.
Yes, vibrator handy.
Or husband on the way home, or wife on the way home.
Mm-hmm.
It can go both ways.
So, what is, because that was one of the things, like, what is your favorite, because, like, we don't want to give too much away, that's why I said the intro to the scene. Like, is there one in particular that you think is sexier than the other, that you like better than the other ones? Do you think, one just sticks out to you?
I don't know. I mean, I thought...
I started leaning towards the second sex scene in Molly. One of the things that, which is really awesome, is that we really tried to give our characters, the female characters, a little bit more power. Not be like dominatrix, but have a little bit more of a outward role. Because a lot of times, as a man anyway, it's assumed that we're supposed to be the aggressors or the one that initiates sex.
Yeah.
Most of the women in here are the ones initiating the sex.
Okay, I didn't put that together, but now that you're saying that, I am.
So with the character Molly in the second scene,
which chapter is that one?
The second to last.
Oh, I didn't get there yet.
No, she's a strong character, though.
She's
a
a fantastic character.
Yeah. Maybe I'll skip. Does it matter?
Like a woman in power.
Yeah, she's a businesswoman.
Should have named her Holly. Chapter 11. That's alright. Some people.
Well, you could change it.
That's alright.
Holly.
Holly stepped out from her closet and reached over to shut the alarm clock off. That's so something I would do.
So what we did was we gave her a situation where she really flipped it around, and she was the one who really took this person who was supposed to be, you know, a tough guy, not a tough guy, but more like a powerful business type person, and she owned it. She owned the whole situation, and you're just like, damn, that's really raw. I mean, raw. And that's kind of like when we were writing together, she took my words and softened them up a little bit more so that it wasn't so hard.
Yeah, it wasn't so.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was really raw.
That one,
really raw.
you let it stay that way too.
You gotta have at least one though, you know. You gotta have for that one freak, freaky freak out there, you know.
I mean, this is not. Listen, folks, this is not your typical, romance novel. This is,
Is it? Would you call it an erotic? Like, what do you like an erotic
short story?
Erotic short stories.
Yeah.
Like, what do you call it? Like a.
They could. The genre is erotica, but I would say it's a little bit more. The difference between us and what I've seen out there with other writers that are on Facebook and out on the internet is that there are a lot of them that will write about the billionaires. They'll write about, a cowboy, or, a firefighter with superpowers or vampires. Vampires are a big one. We wrote something that literally, like, you could go home and chapter 4, baby! We wanted it to be more realistic, something you could totally do.
Yeah.
Or relate to, or even learn from. Because we think that, like I said, couples, you get to be a little bit monotonous.
It gets, repetitive.
Yeah.
For sure.
Spice things up. I mean, chapter 2 is like the perfect example of how you can make things more.
So when you get the book, just read chapter 2 first.
Go right to chapter 2.
Right? I'm like, I don't even care about chapter 1 anymore. I'm like, no.
You can't open up the book and start off the best stories.
No, you can't. Because then you'll be like...
What was the first one? That was a good... Oh, that was a good one, too, though, the first one. Yeah, it was. That was a good one.
And chapter 8, too.
So where do we get the book?
Yeah, so
you can get it at Back on the Rocks in West End, Long
Across
Branch.
from Jack's. I know a lot of people out there know that.
You gotta visit them, too, because, they have some really cool stuff. We were sitting there doing the book signing, and I was like...
So they have 3 stores there now?
There are 3 stores.
Well,
three stores there in West End.
Yeah.
But then they also have a store in Bayville, which we're also going to be doing a book signing on February.
Oh, when is that?
We know a lot of people that are down south.
That one is February
down that
10th.
way.
But the next, I guess, the main event that we're really looking forward to as well is the Wine Loft.
And that's the 9th, right? February 9th?
February 9th. That's Wine, Words, and Desires.
Okay. And is there ticket sales for that one? I forget.
That one is, you can go right to our book page, and there's a link on there where they can pre-order tickets. And it's 2 glasses of wine, pretty much like tapas, and then they get a book. And there's also another price for if they've already got the book. But if they don't have the book, we're going to do signing, and we're going to do something a little bit different than just a standard read.
Okay. Oh, yeah, you were saying that before. So we're keeping that a surprise?
Yeah, we're going to keep that one a surprise. Because
so
it's going to turn out to be a contest.
That's the next one coming up, or do you have something before that? What are the order of events that you have?
That's the next signing one that we're going to be doing.
And I'll post it in the comments here, so you guys have that, so you guys can just go in the, comment. We'll post like the links you could go. We're gonna have. That's the one where we're gonna have a Bella, right? We're gonna have a table.
Yeah, you're gonna have a table. There.
Unfortunately, I can't go, but our Bella Sam's gonna go, and she's gonna set up a table, and I'm gonna give her all the goodies. We're gonna have giveaways as well, and whatever you guys do. But and then what's the one after that? You said you're doing one in Bayville.
On
the following day.
Right
the next day.
Okay.
That's 1 to 3, and that's just gonna
Off
be
the rack. That's
off the rack.
That's the other one. Okay, so if you're in like the Monmouth County area, the Long Branch one would be for you.
Yep.
Or on the 10th, that's Ocean County.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So yeah, we'll post all that stuff too, because I know sometimes people say that they like watch this and they're like, oh, I couldn't write anything down because I was driving, and I'm like, what? What do you mean? They're like, I was just listening.
I do that.
Yeah, like when people go live, I just like listen through my car what's going on. I'm like, shit, I want to write that down. So we'll definitely post all that. But was there anything that you wanted to read from the book for us? Like a little.
We actually.
Chapter 2.
You're like, I'm the author. I have things highlighted.
Yeah, I know. See, we're gonna go right for the jugular.
Oh wait, am I reading first? Yes, I am.
Yeah, you are.
Okay. Okay, so this is from chapter 2. What did we call this one? Chance Encounter.
All of our favorite ones.
Alex was standing there waiting for the door